Hey, this is the master of Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty, and you're listening to Wrestling Cheers Podcast.
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when there's no pressure. This is Wrestling Cheers. We like to talk about things going on in Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review for AIW's Sunny Days. I'm your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by the Trending Topics Network and Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said, this is a review for AIW's Sunny Days, and I've already introduced myself, and technically returning for a second week in a row, we have Pam.
Hey guys.
No run-in needed this week?
Yeah, not this week. It's my show. Well, not my show, but my show. You know what I mean.
And you're at work right now too.
I am. It is 12:09 on this lovely. Because it's technically, midnight and everything. But yeah, I'm still at work. I am still at the Chipotle. Doing the things. When I say I work late, I fucking mean it, guys.
Oh, yeah. All right. AIW Sunny Days, which as of this recording is not on IWTV, unfortunately.
Yeah, seriously. I tried to do my homework today. Couldn't even do my homework.
Well, I mean, we were there live, but the feed went out early in the show. Turns out laptop went down early in the show, and they had to get someone's personal laptop, and that wasn't able to go on till I think the second half, and it could only handle one camera angle.
Oh, see, now these are things I didn't actually realize. That makes all the sense in the world.
So it actually made trying to get people together for this a little bit harder, because it had to be people who were at the show.
Yeah, if you weren't there, then you fucking missed out on everything.
I mean, which all in all, it was a pretty fun show.
It was a really good show. I had a blast, migraine aside, and having fruit punch Gatorade thrown at me by Rhino, but that's a different part of the show that we'll talk about.
And I'm pretty sure you did not meet Sunny.
I did not meet Sunny. I don't do any of those.
I know. It helps for the show if I just ask.
I know. I like giving you shit.
But you should definitely do more meet and greets. Have you got a picture with AK yet?
I honestly think the only meet and greet I've ever done was Arn.
Why Arn?
Yeah, at least AIW related. I believe the only person I've ever met there is Arn.
Any particular reason why him?
I honestly don't remember. I think it was more of a Stacy wanted to do it kind of thing, but it was also the Biggin show, after he passed and whatnot. Yep. So I think it was just a do it kind of thing, and I have a picture with Arn Anderson. It's cool.
Yeah, we should get you to do more.
I have a meet and greet in mind for if and when it would ever happen. It might be the only one I ever do, but I also might need medical attention afterwards, because if and when he gets released, and if and when he would ever make his AIW return, you bet your ass I will meet Kevin Steen and then have a coronary right there.
Yeah, you missed out on the great time of Kevin Steen on AIW.
Yeah, that was pre-Pam time, and I'm very upset about it. But, like, I liked him at that time at NXT. Like, I knew who he was and what he was doing. So, like, I just didn't know about AIW until way later than I should have.
I think a lot of us feel like that. Even though, I came in 2010, it's still like I missed out on 5 years, and I still wish I would have been around for those 5 years because there was a lot of great people that came through that I totally missed out on.
Yeah, like watching and looking back on IWTV and seeing all of the stuff that I missed over the years, like, made me really regret finding AIW when Johnny left. Like, I wish I would have found, or not when Johnny left, but like around that time frame. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, there's just, there's just so many like things that I know I missed out on, and Steen was one that I'm very happy that I got to meet, and especially like meeting him at Turner's Hall and like the interaction we had between each other, I thought was really cool, very organic. Because our conversation, I think, started on like our facial hair, because I think he complimented my beard. And then I pointed out, like, yeah, like there's like these parts right here that don't connect and everything. And he's like, well, yeah, I kind of got that too, but it's like my hair's a little bit longer, so you don't see it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like that just got us into like this whole other conversation, because I knew I wanted a picture with him. I knew I wanted 8x10. I didn't buy a shirt because I think of all the ones he had, there wasn't one that I really, really loved. It's cute though. You guys had a Joe Dirt moment together. Like, your hair doesn't grow in here and here. One of my favorite movies.
That's easily like one of my favorite people that's come through AIW, and he was someone that like I knew of outside of AIW, but I didn't watch really Ring of Honor. So until like he came to AIW, that's when like my first real experience with him. Because like I said, I definitely knew who he was. He was a huge name at that time.
I wish I had gotten to know more about him pre-WWE, but like his WWE run has made me love him. Same with a handful of other people that I didn't know about prior to. So I'll take it. They did some good at some point in time in the last 5-6 years.
So for me, I did meet Sonny. Didn't do it before the show. I had to do it intermission because literally like right when I showed up, which I ran really late from work, and finding a parking spot was hell. God, I hate that area right now. I'm just trying to find a parking spot, but
dude, that parking lot was friggin' insane. I hate to interrupt, but like literally when we got there, perfect. There was so many spaces. And then I went outside to do something and there were no spaces.
Mm-hmm. I ended up having to park like that further down big lot that was $20.
Oh my God, you had to pay $20 to park?
Mm-hmm.
Was the lot, I can never describe this the way that I want to, but the lot that's like directly on the opposite side of the Odeon and that apartment complex or whatever?
Are you talking about the ones like on the, I always say behind the Odeon?
Yeah, it's like, it looks like it should be a one-way street, but it's a two-way street, and it takes you down to the roundabout. Yeah,
I think we're talking about the same one, because there's like, there's the parking lot that's right across from the Odeon, and then there's one on the other side of the building, but obviously it's not like this perfect, it's just like right on the other side of the building. You have the little block that's on, and then you have, what is it, like railroad tracks that go through.
Yeah, like a little metro train bullshit.
Yeah, so it's like further around, because like that's where I've parked like the last few shows.
I've parked there a handful of times. It's very, very private, which I like. Like I slept back there, I think I've said before, like during a J-Lit weekend. Very, very, very surprisingly private.
Yeah. The only thing I don't know if I've talked about this here on the podcast before. The parking lot across from the Odeon and the one that we're talking about on the other side, I feel like those parking spots are like a little bit too small, because if you get your car like right in the middle and like both cars on the opposite sides of you get right in the middle of their spot, it's still like very little room to get out.
I started parking in those weird long ways ones in the parking lot across the street because I've been having a difficult time, and I drive a Soul, for crying out loud.
You and your black Soul.
Black as black can be.
Yeah, like those ones too. Those like what would be more like parallel spots. Hell, like those aren't even really enough room. Like I think if you get a car that's right in the middle of that box, and there's like you're pouring over on the sides. Like that's the only
for sure.
The only thing I don't like about, like I said, those spots is just they're way too tight.
Yep, and even with the tightness and the like pulling over or whatever, spilling out, like people don't give a fuck either. They will go and do whatever in these parking lots. Like that's what worries me the most.
The only good parking spot on the one behind the Odeon, and I parked there at the last show, is like one of the parts that's on the edge of it, but there's a lot of bushes on the side. So it's not like right up against a wall. But like
yes, I know exactly which one or like where you're talking about over there. Yep.
Yeah, there's still so much room because of all those, like where those bushes are. And it just gives you just hands down more room. Like I know the last time I was there, I had to, that was like the only parking spot open. And someone was like, "Oh, do you want to take this spot over there?" I'm like, "Nope. I'm happy to take this spot that I already got."
I will take my stuff. Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
But yes, I got there late, couldn't meet Sunny before the show, did intermission. I got my things that I needed signed, my figure of hers and my old Raw magazine. A story that I don't know, I might have told on the show, I can't remember, that I had one when I was in 5th grade, the exact same one, not the exact same issue, but not the literal same one, and I had it taken away from me, and I never received that copy back, so I got to tell her that story too. And then she also complimented my Chris Candido shirt, and I explained to her, I'm like, "Yeah, I bought this off of you 10 years ago, like straight from you." And she actually like took a picture of us together, like on her phone, and she ended up posting on her social media. But I think it's on her like personal Facebook.
Yeah, when you walked in and I saw you had that shirt on, I was like, he wore it.
Like I said, I know I said on the preview, like I love that shirt, but I only pull it out every so once in a while. Like I actually had Anthony Green ask me about it. He's like, "Were you at that show?" And I'm like, "No, I bought off Sunny, years ago." And I had to look up my Facebook. It was 10 years ago. It was May 2011. But unfortunately, I didn't go there to that show. And that shirt's actually worth. I just pulled it up on eBay, and someone was selling an extra large for $100.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
$100 and shit. Hey, rainy day fund, if anything.
I don't know. I'm particular on shirts to the point, like, I'll probably, like, unless it's, I severely need money, but I'm looking at a bunch of stuff here in my office that I could sell before I sell that shirt, so.
Total mood. I feel that, like, I look at my friends' pops every so often, and I'm like, ooh, the $500 I could get from you guys.
Oh, that's hell, when it comes to pop figures, I just checked out, like, a lot of the worth of mine. Like, my number one I know is worth the money that it has, and it's a Ghostbusters one. I'm never going to sell it. But my number two, and I'm going to double check and see if it is 100% real one, because I think I bought it from, like, the exchange. But I have a Scarface pop that's now worth 2-something, 3-something. Maybe it's like close, it's 2-something, but I think it's a little under 3. And I'm like, shit. Like, I love Scarface, but not as much as I love that thing. So I could sell this one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I don't think any of my pops have, like, a single value that much, but, like, I have 2 sets. The only sets that I have are the Friends and the New Girl, and I'm pretty sure I'd probably get money for them. Yeah,
I know my Egon Slimed in the Ecto 1 is worth, like, 3-something, and I paid $175 for it.
Nice.
And then the only reason why I paid that much, because I know a lot of people be like, "Oh, that's insane." I'm like, it's literally the last one I needed from the set. And it was actually worth over $200 at that time. I think it was, at that point, it was closer to $300 worth. So Jesus. I could have easily just bought it and sold it for profit. But no, yeah. I needed it to complete my collection. I'm actually trying to pull up real quick what it's worth on the Pop Price Guide.
Pop Price Guide makes me mad. When I tried selling my friends' pops, I was like selling them off of the prices per the guide, and they were like yelling at me about the prices, telling me that they were too much. I'm like, I'm literally going off of a guide. Like, don't be mad at me because I'm trying to get a fair price. Like, this is what it says it's worth. That's what I'm going to ask for.
And Pop Price Guide goes off of like eBay selling, so...
Yeah, and that's the exact reason why I was going off of it, because I knew. And
I guess that's pretty much everything for pre-show, so let's get into the actual show. And we started things off, obviously, with our first match. Filthy Tom Lawler versus Eric Taylor. Eric started off strong?
Yeah, very much strong.
Going after Tom. Really shocking, but obviously it didn't work out for him. And this match really wasn't that long. I mean, can't go back and rewatch it. There's no official results on Cage Match right now, but...
You know who probably has official results, though? Jayhawk.
Maybe. Well, he would have what he saw, because I think he did do the stream.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't there. Never mind. I'm just so used to Jayhawk being there with his notepad and shit. Like,
well, this match was roughly 6 minutes. That's just me going from sending out the first tweet to sending out the result tweet. And
true.
There could be a little bit of leeway there, because sometimes I might not get the tweet out for another minute or so after the match starts. So,
right.
Still, pretty short match, but I mean, that's kind of what we're going to expect from someone going up against Filthy Tom Lawler.
For sure, especially somebody who hasn't had a lot in single matches. Having to do a singles match with Tom is tough.
I mean, Filthy Tom Lawler, who's in New Japan, who's in MLW, who's been in UFC. Yeah, that's not going to necessarily be the easiest mountain to conquer if you're Eric Taylor.
Even if your future is too bright, it was dim that day after that match with Tom, man. Oof. Real quick.
So, Filthy Tom Lawler makes pretty quick work of Eric Taylor, and Eric Taylor submits. Any thoughts on the short match we've seen?
So getting to see Eric in singles action is good, though. The kid, there's no denying that him or Mikey aren't stars in the making. You know, Eric's 8-pack likes to come out every so often and steal the show, but Eric is a very good wrestler, and if he's able to build himself up more with matches like ones like Tom's, he'll be top-notch phenomenal and be able to eventually get a dub over Tom one day. You never know. But the match that these two had, albeit short, was still very good. And that wasn't all we got out of Tom, though. And that was pretty nice.
Yep. It was, afterwards, Filthy Tom Lawler said that basically it wasn't enough for him. And he did want another match, put out a challenge, and I think the words he used were, he wanted a man-to-man fight.
Yes.
Well, out came Mance Warner, which, we did receive the news at this time. Unfortunately, Ethan Wright was not able to be at the show. I do believe Stacy asked for his money back, but he was declined.
Yeah, I would have given John extra money.
Actually, I think that's what Stacy said.
We all know how I feel about Ethan Wright, so I would have given John more money, if anything. But, yeah, Manser coming out and answering the call was unexpected and very delightful, because we all love the iPoke God, and having Tom and Mance wrestle each other, oh, that's chef's kiss, baby. Mwah.
And it was a brawl.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's something that I know I thoroughly enjoyed. We didn't see like this deathmatch side of Mance. We saw this fist fight between the two, and like there was 2 spots in the match where it was just an absolute slap fest. And normally that would be like an insult, but they're just literally slapping the shit out of each other, one right after the other. Yeah,
I cannot talk tonight. But yeah, and every time they would slap, it would get harder and harder and harder, and I'm just like, you guys are making me hurt over here. Oh, kitty. This is what happens when I'm driving home and I see a random cat in the middle of the night. You're gonna hear me say kitty. But yeah, these two, I could watch them fight all day.
Yeah, the only word that I could use to describe it is just brawl.
For sure. And wasn't there beers? There were beers involved in this match. Out of a boot.
Was that before the match or after the match?
I think it was before.
Yes,
to get
it was
things
before.
going, like a little champion, or not a champion, like a cheers. Wrestling cheers.
Yeah, they poured some Pabst Blue Ribbon into the boot. And that literally was Pam's reaction.
I was going to say, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I even said it right there. Pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, no pandemic, that's disgusting. Like, you don't... I don't know who has had their foot in that boot. I wouldn't even care if it came straight out the washer. That's still disgusting. Like, ew.
I think I would have had an issue even if it just came like straight from the factory.
Yeah, a boot's a boot, a shoe's a shoe. All your feet go into it, and I don't like feet.
And like I said after it happened, I was like, it could be worse. Could be ranch dressing.
That's even grosser. I can't even. I told you earlier, I've barely eaten since Saturday. I have consumed maybe 2 Hot Pockets since Saturday, and you're about to make me throw all of everything that I don't have in my stomach up. Just even imagining somebody chugging ranch dressing. So gross. My friends used to do that shit when I was younger and just grossed me the fuck out.
What, chug ranch dressing?
Yeah, it happened around the time of Super Troopers.
Okay.
Yeah, we would... they do in the movie, and some genius was like, oh, let's try the ranch dressing. I did not try the ranch dressing. It's gross.
Any extra thoughts on Filthy Tom Lawler versus Mance Warner?
I love seeing both of these guys wrestle at AIW. They need to come back more. I would like to see them fight each other, some other people, but it was a good little ditty that we got unexpectedly. And I'm glad that Mance still had a spot on the show.
Yeah, 100% agree. I love seeing Mance Warner in AIW. I do like that, like, this match was squeezed in without having Ethan Wright on the card. For me, it's nothing against Ethan Wright, but just we got more from Filthy Tom than just that match with Eric, and then it was something to do with Mance. And the thing I was talking with Mance after the show was, like, he got like a nice little early spot. Like, he rarely is like that early in the show. And it was also, like I said before, not necessarily a death match. So he kind of got like an easy night on top of it. And he got to just hang out the rest of the night.
Right. Yeah. When the music hit for Eric and stuff like that, when the first match started, I was kind of surprised to see Tom come out for like that be the first match, because usually it's pre-intermission or after, like, yeah, the show or the match right before intermission or after. And it was nice. Like, I'm glad that they all had a good night and it was easy, and I didn't actually get bored during Mance's match, because that's honestly what I was fearing with him wrestling Ethan.
Well,
you know. I almost fell asleep during the him and Lee match. Like, come the fuck on. When does that happen?
Well,
anyway.
we'll see when the rematch is going to be between Mance and Ethan Wright.
Hopefully not till 2022.
All right, let's move on to the next match. 9 to 5 versus Members Only. And Members Only is Malcolm Cambridge and Calvin Lewis. I was called out in the middle of this match for not knowing their names.
That was funny. Summers, remember my name next time.
And he flicked me off as fucking Malcolm, motherfucker.
No, I fucking love Malcolm.
Fucking slapped Stacy's hand. I was like, thanks for picking us. And then, like, I extended out my hand because, like, you know, it was a good move and everything. And he's like, you know, Summers, remember our fucking names next time. I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, that was good, though. It made for a good laugh.
Yes. I think for me, it's like, I hadn't heard their name as much before. It's not like these guys were wrestling on UXWA for months before, Mega months before.
True. That's true. And also, we didn't really know their kayfabe name for a while.
Yeah.
So that's all like not recent developments, but within the last couple months. And it's not something like you said, with them not being on Mega or UXWA or anything like that. Like, it's not something to get used to very quickly.
Yeah. And then like they were in North Canton, but I mean, their names were said, but I did miss one of the matches. And I think what always helps me too is like seeing graphics of wrestlers. Yeah. To where like when Eric Taylor, that class debuted, and when Wes Barkley's class debuted, like when they had those 4-ways, like I saw their names like individually on a graphic, and like I've never seen their names on a graphic, so I blank. Like I remember members only, especially like knowing the reference of members only. Mm-hmm. But the names couldn't stick in my memory. And I think too, and I'm not necessarily making excuses for myself, is like, especially in wrestling, I know a good handful of Malcolms. And like, there
are quite a few.
I have now committed their name to memory, but I know when I say Malcolm, I always kind of get tripped up because I stop and I almost accidentally say like Bivens or, I think Malcolm Monroe the Third. And then I know there's another Malcolm that I was thinking of, but I'm like learning Malcolm Cambridge, Calvin Lewis, or whether it's going to be Calvin G. Lewis, well, whatever it is. But I recorded a TikTok of this show, and then I did a voiceover when I got home, and I kept messing up like on just random parts to where I'd have to like start over from the beginning and record everything. So I said their names a bunch fucking Friday night when I got home. So I've committed it to memory.
I was just going to say that.
And unfortunately with this match, we did not get a warning that 9 to 5 was coming out because they were the first team to come out.
Yeah, but I plugged my ears as soon as I could.
Yeah, it's definitely not the greatest theme music in the world.
You know what? That may have been where my migraine started.
Oh, I believe it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, because it was pre-intermission where I started getting a headache. So yeah, that's probably where it started.
So like in this match, you did have 9 to 5 welcoming members only, and they got them some gifts. One of them, a balloon. Well, they both had balloons, but one of them got released to the ceiling of the Odeon.
That was funny as shit.
And then what was in there? Like coffee mugs, a tie, applications to...
applications for something, for jobs in the future, but I'm pretty sure it had an AEW logo on it.
Yeah, we caught that from our angle. We were just like, wait a minute. I think it was like entry-level positions. And we're like, which entry-level position is you getting at AEW?
I mean, they are pretty good ring crew. They get the sweeping on.
Maybe AEW needs some good ring crew. So this was a nice, fun match for members only to start out on. I like what I seen from them from their first showing. The first match that comes to mind that I really want to see, and I feel like it will happen. I just don't know when. It could be, the next... Okay, it won't be the next show. It could be early next year. It could be late next year. It could be in 2023, but I really want to see members only versus Bitcoin Boys.
That would be fucking amazing. Like, I honestly have that thought myself.
It would be so much fun, and I think that would help. That would really help elevate members only too, because like we're seeing what the Bitcoin Boys have done over the past couple of years, and like what they're turning into an AIW. Fuck, like get members only. I think that's eventually going to happen. I mean, obviously, like I said, with Mikey, that's definitely not going to happen soon. But when it does happen,
I think they said 6 to 8 weeks for Mikey.
Yeah, so we're thinking maybe return December show.
I was hoping no later, maybe Hell on Earth, but maybe the December show.
Yeah. And then worst case scenario too, nothing until whatever the first show of 2022 is.
I know that won't be on my birthday. This makes me sad, but I can't get lucky and have my birthday show all the time.
Well, I'll probably never have a birthday show at AIW. Only because my birthday is WrestleMania season.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you are an April baby.
No, March 31st.
Well, damn near it. I mean, I don't know why I thought you were April, though. I thought you were like the 9th or something.
I have gone to some shows on my birthday before.
AIW or other?
Other, because like I said, AIW never, with it being, like, it was WrestleMania weekend. It was, that was Evolve, Progress, and the WrestleCon Super Show.
Oh, okay.
And then I had Adam Cole wish me happy birthday.
Oh, that was sweet. Did he say happy birthday, baby?
I think he just
so
said
bad at jokes.
I think he just said happy birthday because it was at the AIW booth at WrestleCon when Britt was there, and she introduced me to Adam Cole, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know whether I said it or what, but I was like, it's my birthday, and he's like, oh, happy birthday, man.
Was that Orlando?
Yes.
Okay, I was there, but not there with you, obviously.
We were at some. I know we were at some of the same shows.
We were all there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were literally all there in some capacity, and nobody knew anybody at that point. Like, that's the one thing that blows my mind still. Different subject for a different day, but I still think it's crazy that all of us were at WrestleMania in Orlando and nobody knew anybody.
Well, it almost feels like that IWTV guy talking about Absolution 12.
Dude, right? That is still the uncanniest fucking thing in the world that's happened to me wrestling-wise. It's like, here, guys, let's talk about this show that we sat next to each other and didn't even realize. Like, what?
Well, that's like Unforgiven 2008 I was at. There's a screenshot that I think I pulled from YouTube, and clearly you can see me and Adam Laporta. And this is long hair era Adam Laporta.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
And we were fairly close to each other. Also in the picture is or in the screenshot, Brock Lesnar guy before he was Brock Lesnar guy.
Before he was Brock Lesnar guy?
Yeah.
That's fucking great, dude.
Were you at the WrestleCon Super Show?
So I don't remember. Like, I know we did a bunch of stuff. We did the ROH thing.
Which I think that I was there for that.
That might be the one that we went to instead, because I don't remember seeing wrestling at WrestleCon. I just remember walking around and Stacy getting his picture taken with Rich Swann and seeing very pregnant Rebby Hardy run around that place.
Well, it wasn't at the actual WrestleCon venue. There was like another place that it was at, but you would have remembered the WrestleCon Super Show. Like, that was one of my favorite shows of that weekend. But with that, the way I mentioned is because like I was at that show, Ed Batts was at that show. Kevin Watson was with me. Like, we went to like almost every show together.
Got you.
Like, we were both at Ring of Honor. I don't remember what the WrestleCon Super Show ran against, because I know ROH ran against NXT.
Was it Spring Break?
No, Spring Break was the night before that. Because that was one of the few shows that Watson went to that I didn't, because I was up too many hours and I didn't buy a ticket, and I was just like, I need to go to bed. I'm like exhausted. And because I think he was gonna like watch it from the hotel room, and he was having trouble streaming, and he's like, screw it, I'm just gonna go. I was like, that's fine, because I think there might have been an Evolve show around that time too. And I think he went to both of those, and then he went to Pancakes and Pile Drivers that I didn't go to, because instead I went to WrestleCon for a little bit, and then I got on the bus to go to ROH early, so I can do the like Fan Fest thing. I
gotcha. Yeah, that Fan Fest thing was a fucking nightmare. I remember that much. Lines out the wazoo, people not knowing where to go, where to stand. It was so weird.
The second block was the worst, because that's when it had the Young Bucks, Cody, and the Hardy Boys, and like those were like the longest lines out of all of them. The first block, which had like all those other people from the second block doing like an in-ring interview type thing, like the lines for everybody were like super short. Like technically didn't meet him, but I seen Adam Cole again, and like we talked about how they like, you know, he remembered me from the day before. I had a good conversation with Cheeseburger, had a good conversation with Jay Lethal, had a good conversation with Dalton Castle. And then that second block happened, and the shortest line I got into was the Guerrillas of Destiny. And that's because I had realized like everybody was waiting on these other lines, And I looked down to them because they were on my list of people I wanted to meet. And I was like, oh God, they have no line. So I went and met them. I met them and Christopher Daniels because they had nothing.
Yeah, when we got there, like, I remember very faintly, Hangman had absolutely nobody in his line. He was pretty much an afterthought at this thing. And then, like, the Q&A thing was happening. Like, we went and saw that, and then we tried doing the second round of meet and greets because we had a ticket for Don't Laugh Cody and the Hardy Boys. We met the Hardys, like, 3 different times that weekend. Picture-in-picture inception bullshit. It's the coolest thing in the world. I fucking loved that part of it. But, like, I just remember nobody, like, going to see Hangman or give him love. I'm like, aw. And now look at him. Like, everybody want to meet the Hangman.
There was one person I missed out for autographs because he had an opening match. And he was supposed to be in that. He was in the second block, but I think he cut early. He has since been canceled. So, like, I don't regret it as much. I kind of regretted it in the moment. But going back to fucking Adam Page, like, literally when he joined the Bullet Club, everybody was like, who?
Exactly.
Like, literally nobody cared. Even to the fact of there were people out there that thought Ethan Page had joined the Bullet Club. Because
that's almost more believable then.
Because I had a joke with him after that. Like, every time I'd see him, I would try to two-sweet him. And, like, normally he would not do it at all. I almost caught him one day. Like, I put it up and he went to do it. Then he's like, no. It was great, but
that's fucking great.
So, a tangent.
Yeah, of course, because I don't ever know how to not go off on a tangent. We need a moderator of sorts for you and I.
I'm guessing it's a household thing.
Hey, you know what? Shut up. I can't help it. So, I'm Italian. I talk a lot. And I also talk with my hands. I've been doing it the whole time.
Thoughts on 9 to 5 and members only, which consist of Malcolm Cambridge and Calvin G. Lewis.
Malcolm and Calvin are great. Lewis and Jack, I know why they're there. I know what they're there to do. I can't get into it, but they had a vet versus upcomer match, and it was pretty good. I will give the boys credit. They really went out there, showed their ass a little bit, and it was good for like for an Odeon debut. You know, like I can't even call it like their real debut because they already have their real debut. But yeah, I for as much as I don't like 9 to 5, I enjoyed the match and I thought it was really good. And if they can like do that for other people, cool beans. But like I cannot wait to see what members only brings to the table. These boys have been in training for a grip and they're hungry, they're ready, they want to wrestle. So I want to see them fucking wrestle in the future, and if we can get good matches like what we got, that would be cool. I dig it.
Man, I can't wait for the first members only 4-way tag team match.
Why you say that?
Because I think it'll be fun. Like imagine.
Oh, I
like,
thought you had opponents in mind. Or
oh
something.
no! I'm just thinking like because I love a good 4-way match. I love a good scramble, and I love a good 4-way tag match. Like whatever match it may be, because it's a lot of just constant insanity. So take those two and fill in the rest with just 3 other tag teams in AIW. Like one, for example, which I don't know if we'll see, but just imagine members only versus bulking season.
Ooh, interesting.
We've already said, versus Bitcoin Boys. I don't want to go the route of like 40 acres, but God, I know there's potentially we could see members only versus the production.
That would be good.
Just a lot of possibilities. I know I'm leaving out tag teams. We could see more from the Von Englands.
Yeah, there's quite a few that could definitely give these two a run. But I'm excited to see what the future holds for these guys, 100%. I've been waiting for them to debut, and they have not disappointed thus far. Malcolm's a funny motherfucker, and I think he would also be good in a comedy match.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just me.
Yeah, he's really funny. Fucking flicking me off for not remembering his name.
that burn on Mikey will forever live in my memory, and that is what solidified it for me for Malcolm. Like, that was the funniest shit I had heard in I don't know how long.
Well, unfortunately for members only and Malcolm, it was Jack Verville making Malcolm tap, giving the win to 9-5.
One day, members only will get the dub, and we will be there to cheer for them.
Let's move on to the next match. Anthony Green versus Lee Moriarty, and a Lee chant started even before his music hit.
Because Lee is amazing.
And last week's episode was recorded, I believe, on a Monday night, if I remember correctly.
I think so, because I got home and you guys were recording.
Yeah. And by Wednesday evening, around 48 hours later, probably less than technically, Lee Moriarty was signed to AEW, and Stacy hinted that that might happen. Not necessarily this week. I understood where he was coming from in the moment. He was basically saying, you know, Lee's been getting TV time lately. He's really made a bigger name for himself. Don't be surprised if he's signed really soon. So he was saying, you know, you're going to want to see him sooner rather than later because there might not be an opportunity later.
Stacy's like Nostradamus, man. He's fucking predicting everything.
I mean, he did tweet out, he was like, when I said it on Cheers, I wasn't expecting it this soon.
Yep.
But
none of us were, honestly.
No.
Maybe like in a month, but not like in 48 hours.
Well, here's the funny thing, too. I tweeted out last Sunday night after All Out, hey, at Tony Khan, you should sign Lee Moriarty next. Just saying. Fucking.
I remember that tweet. I liked that tweet, and then I was like, fucking Summers too, damn it.
Yeah, fuck, like, that was the next signing. Oh, like, and they purposely didn't tag Lee in it.
Right.
I know Lee would have eventually seen it because he does follow me, but I was like, no, that like isn't about like, hey, tagging him. It was more or less tagging fucking Tony Khan than more than anything.
Right.
But I know when I heard the news, I got really excited. Something that I preach when it comes to getting people into independent wrestling. And, you know, Thorne kind of talks about this process of, you know, watching people come up from nothing. And, you know, being an independent wrestling fan, it's not going to happen for every wrestler you see. But when you get those moments, and, you know, a guy like Lee, who I watched in Turner's Hall for a different company, and I know I had seen him, you know, wrestle in the area, maybe not directly, but, you know, see him popping up at IWC, popping up at Rise, and Quaker by you guys. Like, I knew there was something in his stock. The moment that I kind of circled him in my mind, because it showed me the kind of wrestler he was when he was the only non-AIW wrestler to sign up for the Ultimo Dragon seminar. And I was like, this kid wants it.
Yep.
And then that led into, you know, him doing the New Talent Initiative. And he was one of two people that got a crazy reaction. Oddly enough, the other one was Wardlow. And just to like watch this climb from him. And then like when he was announced for GCW for the first time, and then when, you know, it was announced that he was going to be doing something with Impact, which sadly enough wasn't on like actual Impact programming. It was on like some of their secondary stuff that they have. And I think it might just be on YouTube or something. But the bottom line was just like watching this climb. And when he reached the point of getting signed by AEW, it's something to celebrate. And like his climb's not done. He's not somebody like, you know, Eddie Kingston when he got into AEW. I was like, I'm expecting a lot of things from towards the top of the card with this guy, which granted, like Eddie Kingston, maybe not necessarily the biggest player there, but you know, to main event like he has, to get title shots like he has, means a lot. I don't think we're going to see that from Lee off the rip, but I think he's a dude that's going to climb, and he's going to like earn a spot with that crowd and on a Dynamite episode.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I remember watching Lee, like you mentioned, from being down this way, at QCW. Like, the first time I saw him there, I was like, bro, who is this? Like, I dig it. And then I would go to more QCW shows and I would see him there. And then, like, I figured out he was a Pittsburgh wrestler. So I, like, would look into stuff on the internet and blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget the day that I watched Lee. I'm pretty sure he was on this show. It was a QCW show inside of a Harley Davidson down here in Austintown for free. Like, what? Like, that was almost 2 years ago. To see the climb that he's had and to see where he's going and to know that his ceiling is not, like, he literally has no cap. He is going to keep going and he is going to keep progressing and he's going to keep making himself better. And whether that's at AEW, if he goes through the forbidden door and ends up at New Japan, X, Y, and Z, whatever. Like, Lee is out here to prove himself. And it doesn't matter if it's a free show at QCW or if you're paying money at AIW or if you're paying money at AEW, Lee's going to give you a hell of a match. And the match that he had with AG was pretty fucking good.
And at least we can say we've seen the only match of Lee Mitchell.
Yeah, Lee Mitchell. Man, I'm glad we got that one while we did. Lee Mitchell and Felino Blanco. Whew, them boys can go.
Yeah, you got to see a lot of, or at least 2 one-off appearances in old wrestling. We have Lee Mitchell and Sandy Bunker.
Who's Sandy?
MJF.
Oh, that's right. Did I get to see him? Was that the weird outdoor one or was that a barn? He was at a barn, right?
That was one of the fair shows.
Okay, so Stacy got to see him. I did not.
Okay.
Him and Trevor went to that show.
Okay. I just assumed because Stacy
he hung out with them afterwards in the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, non-kayfabe there, but
still,
yeah.
We got to see Lee Mitchell, and I know we haven't got really into the match yet, but another thing is, like I said, there was the chant before he came out, and then once he was in the ring, there was a "You deserved it" chant, and towards the end, part of the crowd, but like not nearly enough, was trying to chant "You fucking earned it."
Yeah, that was a chant that Stacy was saying during the "You deserve it" one, because I also don't like when people say that they deserve it unless, like, granted, I know he's been busting his ass and I know that he's been doing it, but he literally has earned his spot. He has earned his way into AEW. Like, he has proven the work. He has done whatever he needs to. And he's, like I said, he's only going to get better. But, like, he earned that spot.
Mm-hmm.
The deserve it thing kind of gets to me. But, yeah, no, he earned the shit out of that spot, and he's just going to keep getting better. I kind of felt bad for AG, though, because that was his first time there as, like, a wrestler and not a ref.
Yeah. And
we were just all like, Lee. And, of course, the one disrespectful comment from the crowd that we're not going to get into. But, yeah, like, I just kind of felt bad for AG. It's like, oh, man, if you would have been wrestling anybody else, you would have been so much more, like, what am I trying to say here? He would have been well recepted. I think that's what I want to say.
I was going to say more appreciated.
Yeah, there you go. A little more appreciated. Like, I feel bad. Like, so with Anthony Green, if you're listening, John Thorne, if you're listening, come back. Have him back, John. We would love to have AG back, especially so Jake can hang out with them because they're friends.
Yeah, I know. I talk with Anthony Green a little bit after the show. I busted his balls about something. I said if I was going to heckle you, and this is not going to make sense to barely anybody, but I said if I was going to heckle you, I would have made fun of you for sending something to Smart Mark Sterling and then getting blown away. And just a long story short on that is Smart Mark Sterling bought a WWE retro figure off of Anthony Green. It was the Roman Reigns one, which is worth roughly $100. And the story goes that when he did send it to him, like it might have been like left on his front porch or something, but because those packages are so light, it blew away, and it did wind up in a field.
Oh my god!
And like when I was talking to him, because like it's been so long, because it's from the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. I've heard the story, and like it's been so long that it's kind of like warped in my brain. Like I know the basics, but I was just like, I forgot what figure it was, and he explained it to me. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense because those things are so light and everything. And he was like, yeah. And he was like, it wasn't me that sent it. It was, but it wasn't. He's like, I think it was his girlfriend sent it and didn't use the right packaging. So it did blow away. But like, that was like a fun like conversation I had with him after the show. He is someone that I know. He was like a decent name in independent wrestling before he got signed. And I was really happy for him when he got signed. But now that he's back, God, I would love to see him, come to AEW more. Like, even before then, I wanted to see him come, but obviously you can't get everybody that you want to come to AEW. Sometimes you're going to have to go outwards and all this kind of stuff. But now that, he kind of has an in, like, I would love to see him come back. And
that would be great for sure.
And I was at his show that he was referee at. The thing is, I'm a firm believer that you're not supposed to really recognize a lot of referees. And that was also like that. The beginning of me coming to AIW, that was literally their first Turner's Hall show.
Oh, okay.
So I was so new that, like, I didn't, like, to me, he just could have been a regular ref. Like, I didn't recognize a lot of them. That was even before Tom Dunn came back.
Got you.
So there was only, like, 2 refs that I knew. One of them, Ming Clemens.
Right. Good old Lemons.
But I did think this was a very fun match. Lee has the same standard of match that he always has, and I would love to see Anthony Green again.
Big same. I thought the match was really good, even though we were slightly distracted because of what happened at the beginning, and just in general about Lee potentially not coming back. But yeah, I thought those two had a great match, and I would for sure 100% love to see AG back. Definitely.
And I got my pick wrong, but I got my scenario right of the fact of Lee won. He made AG tap. So my idea of picking against Lee worked. I know after the match, not like directly, but I think at intermission, I went to go see Lee. I had to get a hug from him, tell him how proud I was of him, and for the only time ever, I admitted something to him that I'm actually not going to repeat here. So he got to hear me say something that I've never told him. It's nothing huge, but there's that one thing that he calls himself that's not necessarily true, and I just agreed with him. That's all I'll say.
I was going to say, you're going to tell me after the podcast, so I mean, I'm going to make you tell me.
All right, let's move on to the next match. Kaplan versus Rhino. And can we just talk about fucking Rhino throwing in the AIW chairs into the ring and crew going like, no, like, can't use those. Gotta use.
Dude, Kat was gonna have a fucking coronary. Like, she was like, no, stop using them. But no, I totally get it. I don't want to get in, or I would not want to get in trouble by the Odeon for something like that. You know what I mean? Like, nah, use the metal chairs, bro. That's what they're there for.
I mean, at least of all people, if it was someone, it was Rhino, who, isn't necessarily your average independent wrestler.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that he's never not been to AIW, but like, you've never been to AIW in that situation to where you don't know to not use the chairs. So I mean, you're just gonna go grabbing shit like you're used to.
I mean, he has been to AIW. I've seen him in AIW, but
okay, I haven't like actually looked back that far into shit, so I wasn't sure.
I'm trying to remember his last booking in AIW. It's one of those, I want to say he was a last minute replacement for somebody, because that's a common thing of him, or people dropping out and then having to replace him with somebody.
Right.
Let me see if I go to Cage Match. Of course, this is a guy who obviously has like years worth of bookings and worked at a lot right, of companies. Well, at least he had 2 years where he was just in WWE, so those are easy to go by. Yeah, I want to say the last time he was in AIW was, I thought he was I remember him being at Turner's Hall, but I don't know if he wrestled. Like, I know he was there just like hanging out.
I gotcha.
But when I pull up his Cage Match, the last AIW thing I see is Hell on Earth 10, which I think he was a last minute replacement. It was a 8-man tag match. Bobby Beverly, Cheech, Colin Delaney, and Dick Justice. They defeated the Iron Curtain, which was Boone, Iron, Jerry, which I think at that point he wasn't really going under Jerry. We were just calling him his mega name, and Rhino. And I think, like I said, I think Rhino was like a replacement for somebody.
Yeah, that wasn't a show I was at. I would have never in a bajillion years would have guessed any of the names that you just said.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because last time I did remember seeing him in AIW wrestle was Turner's Hall, but I do know he was at the very first Our Lady of Mount Carmel show because I have a picture with Chris Sabin and Rhino is photobombing us.
That's funny.
And I guess that's something he likes doing because he told me to like message him on Facebook with it because he loves doing that type of shit. But yeah, he's been in AIW, but it's so rare. But with him being somebody who's fairly close.
Right.
But yeah, fucking Kaplan, Rhino, absolute hardcore match. They brought everything out. They brought the doors. They brought chairs. They brought cookie sheets.
They brought Gatorade.
They brought Gatorade. Of all things to throw. Like, throwing water, fine. But like, literally, yeah. I don't want to say flinch, but I was just kind of like, oh, like shit. Like, I don't want to get Gatorade on me because I just don't want to be sticky.
Well, not only that, so like, I don't even know where it fucking came from. But like, I look up and he's got a bottle of Gatorade in his fucking hand, wanting to launch it to somebody behind me. I feel bad because Brock's dude Kurt got like the brunt of the Gatorade. Like, it was crazy. But like, you had a yellow shirt on. I was wearing black and white and Stacy had black on. After he launches, I look up and there are these two big like wet marks on Stacy's back. I look down on my skirt. I've got a little bit on my skirt. I've got some on my leg. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, I did not want to come here and get doused in Gatorade. Like, that's not what we do here. If you do throw anything, please throw water so it's not sticky and it doesn't stain. Fruit Punch Gatorade is the worst fucking Gatorade in the entire world to try to get out of your fucking clothes. Like, stains so much. But yeah, so he launches that in the crowd because somebody was being an ass, I guess, and he didn't like it, and you know, wrestling fans, right? So,
what is it with people from Michigan throwing flavored beverages into the crowd?
Thing, honestly, because I almost made an ICP reference when I was talking about that, and yeah, it's just y'all pick the stickiest and most stainful things in the world to throw at people and or in your crowds.
ICP is smart enough now. I don't know if they did this back in the day, but now they only use Diet Pop for that.
Ugh, that's even grosser because if it would get in my mouth, it would taste horrible.
But it's not as sticky.
I don't understand that. Like, I always thought fake sugar would be worse, but
I don't know.
Me either. I'm no rocket scientist. I'm a wrestling fan. So let's get back into the matches and stop going off on tangents so these poor bastards can listen to this in the decent amount of time. Sorry, everybody. I'm a very chatty Cathy. Y'all should know this by now. I've been on how many episodes?
I have no idea.
Like 3 or 4 at this point.
No, you've been on more than that.
TBH, I don't think I have, Justin. I don't know.
I would have to go through archives. I mean, you got to realize you've been doing this for years.
I still think it's no more than 5.
No, you've done more than 5. This year you've done 3.
Yeah, I don't know why I can only recall like 2 other ones before that, though. I don't know. No, I've definitely done more than 5. No more than 10.
Okay, 10's a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, no more than 10. But still, I talk a lot, and I'm sorry.
But no, when you think about it, you've been doing this since 2018? Yeah, I want to say 18.
Yeah, because I think that's when I started the other one, and then I shifted to this one.
Oh, I think it was right around fall time, too.
Am I having an anniversary episode? I think so.
I had to look it up, but I want to say it was like sometime in the fall, because I was actually trying to get you on for a while, but it came down to like just timing and everything.
Right.
Yeah, because you were on around the time that I went to Revenge.
I went to a Revenge show in September, and watch Puff dance to
Mhm.
September.
That was the show.
Yep. So it's been a minute. Wow.
Yes, you've definitely done more than 5 episodes in about 3 years.
Yeah, I was being a dick, I guess.
And that's not counting because I know you did the year-end and year preview show, and that was technically 2 episodes. 1 recording day, but 2 episodes.
That's true.
Yeah, Kaplan and Rhino, just insanity.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that match. Yeah, there was the Kaplan. He fucking has really been putting himself out there this year and has been killing it.
When we do the year review, it's going to be interesting to hear everybody's pick for AIW Wrestler of the Year, because you could say Kaplan, you could say Derrick, you could say Bishop, and I mean we're not even to the end of the year, but I mean there's a lot of contenders already, and all of them have a shot. Oh,
for sure, 100%. There's no denying that this year's year-end episode is going to have some crazy fucking people on it.
Anything else to add about Kaplan and Rhino?
I want more Kaplan. Have Kaplan wrestle everybody. Kaplan is amazing, and he has been really putting the work in as well this year. He took some time off and had been doing like non-kayfabe stuff, and it's good to see him back. He's lost some weight. He's looking good. He obviously is, as much as we know, feeling good. But yeah, the Cuban grandfather, he's just been really showing himself this year, and whether it's Rhino or him getting hit by a U-Haul, like he's really doing some shit. So like everybody better be on the lookout for Kaplan and Rhino. He definitely got his warning before the show, and Kaplan definitely got that dub.
Yep, Kaplan pinned Rhino for the win. Let's move on to the next match. Well, technically we went to intermission, but we came back with To Infinity and Beyond versus 40 Acres. And Pretty Boy Smooth had some help with his chapstick.
I was so nervous. I was so nervous. Like, I'm such a goob. Like, I'm such a goober. Like, I was totally nervous. And even when you guys watch this shit back, tell me how nervous I looked, please, because I just know. My hand was shaking. My face was flushed. Kat made a joke afterwards, which was a little embarrassing if anybody heard it, but it was funny to me. But still, yeah, I put the chapstick on PB, and I'm one of those dorks. I kept the chapstick.
At least you got to be a part of the show.
Yeah, and not like other people. I was actually supposed to be a part of it. Because, people try to make it about themselves sometimes, and yeah.
You know what I forgot to mention earlier during the members only match?
What's that?
The joke that I told to you and Charlie was the tag team I want to see is Levi and Manders. Call them Farmers Only.
And anytime I hear that, I hear the .com after it. But yeah, that's still, I like that one a lot.
If not Manders, like no matter what, Levi has to be in it. Has to be Levi and somebody else say Farmers Only. For
sure. Maybe that'll be him and Danny Doring tag team name that Stacy wants so badly.
If we could get Roadkill as it, I think those two would be funny as also Farmers Only.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I did love this match. I love coming back from intermission with this. You got the tag team that To Infinity and Beyond just are in AIW, but 40 Acres are making a name for themselves, especially with Jocelyn.
Oh, yes.
Jocelyn is a murderer. She could yes. Just go in there and kill motherfuckers and not care, and that's one thing I do love about her.
Yeah, that is 100% true, accurate shit right there. Like, watching the difference in a year, because, like, that first indie show was damn near a year to the day. But, like, seeing the progress that this version of 40 Acres has made, gaining people, losing people, what have you, PB and Jocelyn is a hell of a combo.
Mm-hmm.
With his size and her badassery. Like, it's just a match made in heaven with those two. I fucking love it. And the way that she ain't afraid of no man. She is gonna come in that ring and fuck you up. And that's what I love about her. She's not scared. And she will come in and destroy your world. And she was trying to do that with To Infinity and Beyond, man.
You know, the match I want to see in AIW, but at the same time I don't.
What?
Jocelyn versus the Brazilian Giant.
Brazilian Giant?
Wasn't it Brazilian Giant? The remember the dude from the pre-show? The giant.
Oh, yeah, that one guy, yeah.
I think Jocelyn will fuck him up.
The Brazilian Giant that wasn't actually Brazilian or a giant? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jocelyn would destroy his ass.
It'd be so great.
It would be a slap fest bitch fight for sure. Like, she would fuck him up. 100%.
Because what I was thinking of is, I don't think there's really anybody in AIW that Jocelyn's scared of.
No.
So
no, and why would she be? Like, she ain't afraid of you. She gonna come in there and mess your world up. Oops. Sorry for all this.
So, yeah, so she gives no fucks about To Infinity and Beyond. Got in there as much as she could. Yeah, well, same with PB, but 40 Acres PB matches are high on my list on AIW shows now.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Those two have definitely, over time, have gotten impressively better. And PB, like, I'm scared PB. Like, that big ass leg come down on you, whew, hurt. So yeah, those two are just, it was a good match for what I wanted. I didn't know what to expect going into it because I don't want to say we don't get a lot of intergenders, but like, we don't get too many where it's a double boy tag team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With
the girl. So I was interested to see how it was going to pan out, and it was what I wanted and more. I love those two. I also love Colin and Cheech. They're Colin and Cheech. Let other people shine. You're nuts. Get out of here. But see, watching them two both over the years, Joss at Mega and then coming over here, and then watching PB pretty much the entire time that he has been at AIW, I love that they're both making progress, and I love that they're both getting out there, and I love that they have opportunities like wrestling to infinity and beyond, and I'm very excited to see where it does go from here, whether it's singles matches for PB and Joss or tag team as 40 Acres. But yeah, the match that they had was great. 8 out of 10. I don't do fire emojis, but yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed myself. It was definitely a good match to come back to after intermission.
Jocelyn should go down to Orlando and fight somebody and bring back a title.
Dude. No. We'll get to a tweet later in the show that references that, though.
It was Colin pinning Jocelyn to pick up the victory for To Infinity and Beyond.
Sad. I want a Jocelyn.
Big same. Let's move on to the next match. And this is the no pressure match. Chase Oliver versus Gringo Loco versus M-Dog Matt Cross versus a entrance musicless Alex Zane.
Do you know how sad / pissed off I was that they could not get Downfall of Us All to work? It's like one of my favorite Day to Remember songs. I thought I was going to get to hear one at the show since I don't get to hear Mr. Highway anymore because Eric isn't a wrestler. But like, all I wanted to hear was some da-da-da-da-das. And I didn't get no da-da-da-da-das because nobody thought to stick their phone next to a microphone to make a song happen. Except for me, who was screaming it from the audience, saying, here, use my phone. I have that song on Apple Music. Here you go. Everybody ignored me and I was big sad. But anyway, I digress. See? Tangents, man. Tangents.
Yeah, This match might be one of my favorite matches of the night without going back and rewatching it. The thing that I love about stuff like this, it's just a lot of things, one right after the other. Everybody gets their own little shine in. This was like a great time for like Chase Oliver to shine. This was a great time for Gringo Loco to be back in AIW. I know he was someone that I had a nice conversation with after the show, and how, you know, we talked about it last week on the preview that he hasn't been to the Odeon. And, you know, we've been to the Odeon for 2 years, but then, you know, pandemic and everything, but still, as a regular that he was prior, you would figure he would have been around a little bit more, or at least have one, you know, JLIT at the Odeon. But
something.
Yeah. And then, of course, M-Dog, just being a Cleveland vet, something that we haven't talked about here on this review, that we did have a lot of newer fans in AIW, and that's definitely not a knock, but as some seasoned fans, we can tell by what other fans are saying if they've been around before. Like, for example, someone not too far from us just called M-Dog White Pants. And it's like, all right, if you don't know who M-Dog is, you obviously this has to be your first show, or you just don't know who M-Dog is. Either way, I understand.
Earlier comments from said person, if not the person next to him, why isn't this ref counting them out? Like, what's going on here? Why is he so bad? You heard that shit too. Like, It's like, guys, come on. Like, give Coach a break.
But wasn't it the fucking...
And Tom.
Wasn't it like the Rhino Kaplan match too? It's like, come on, like...
It was
or Filthy and Mance.
It was supposed to be outside, because you goddamn expect them to be outside.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's us, and it's like, they're doing their job, right? Like, shut up.
Yeah, pretty much.
We didn't actually say that to them, but like, Justin and I are thinking this, of course.
There was other dumb things.
And then also being surrounded by racists. I don't know if you caught that, but that's a different story for a different day as well.
I wasn't going to delve into it, but yes, there was some things. It's not that they said anything racist, but when they're explaining a story and literally a words where other people said that they were a racist, but they weren't.
I got demoted for being a racist, is essentially what the one fella said.
Yeah.
And then Stacy almost beat the other guy up for being another racist. So there was a bunch of them surrounded by us. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
But like I said, different story for a different time.
And then, of course, too, going back to like the participants in the match, Alex Zane in there, it's just, if there's matches to go back and rewatch from this show, I have this high on my list. I don't know if it's number one, just because I haven't like sat down and made this list, but this is one that I do want to revisit. What were your thoughts on this match?
So this match was exactly what I wanted. I wanted flippy shit. I wanted crazy shit. I got it. It was fucking amazing to see Gringo Loco back. Also amazing to hear Mr. Miyagi and me get to do my dance. It was great to see Matt back. I don't believe I've ever seen Alex Zane wrestle in person, whether it be at AIW or another promotion, because, you know, we travel. And then there's Chase. I fucking love Chase. Chase has been one of my favorite students for years now. And getting to see him in action with a vet in Matt, a newer up and coming guy in Alex, and another vet in Gringo, like getting to see him do what he did and just watching that whole match in general, like you said, it's something that's definitely on my watch back list as well, because from my angle, I could only see so much stuff. I want to see what actually happened, because I feel like I missed out. Like, I can't see a lot of stuff from where I sit. So I don't know, but like, it, from where I sat and my perspective, and getting to see all four of those guys just go in that ring and outside and kill it. Like, I was so happy for Chase in that moment to not only secure the dub, but to be in the ring with three guys of that stature. Like, he went in there, he proved himself, and he killed it. And he, no pressure or anything, but, you know, Chase is one of the kids that, unfortunately, being injury ridden and whatnot, has had his opportunities taken away from him, I'm sure, and it sucks. And getting to see him do anything now, back stronger than ever, and it's just so great. And he has been going out there and putting on a hell of a match every time. And that's something that we love, like him flipping off the post and just do it. Oh my gosh, just love him. More crazy shit from these kids in the future for sure. I would love to see Alex Zane back. I would also love to see Gringo and Matt back. Having both of those guys there for the first time in ages. Was that Matt's first Odeon show too?
No, he was at Keep Your Head Ringing. He was at the very first one because
that's right.
Because remember, he was supposed to be in if I'm correct, it was supposed to be Euthanasia versus the Lucha Brothers.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so that was the first and last time Matt was there. So it was good having those guys there, and we would love to have them back, especially wherever AIW is. It doesn't matter if it's the Odeon, Akron, wherever. Would love to have those guys back. And hell, even if we were able to get another rematch in that way, like, or a tag team, you know what I mean? Like, having those four guys in the ring again would be fucking fantastic. Like, they all have something to offer, and they all are just great. Brain fart.
I didn't realize that Alex Zane was 34.
Holy crap, he's my age? Our age?
His I gotta double check with him, but his cage match baffles me. And I'm wondering if they have him, there's like somebody that they have listed as him that isn't him.
Or they just randomly give him extra matches like they did. Who was it that they said his first match was like in Puerto Rico or another country or some shit like that? And it wasn't.
Yeah, because this says that his first match on Cage Match was actually on my birthday on 2007, so March 31st, 2007, for a company called AWA, and his name was Zane. Now, the only reason why I question that is because there's literally a almost 6-year gap from his next matches. Like, there's literally one match in 2007, there's that, and then he has a bunch of matches in 2013.
Yeah, that sounds like a fuck up on Cage Match's part.
This one could be right, because it does have him down as Alex Zane, and there's a lot of people that I recognize in some of these matches. One has Shane Mercer in it. Another one has T-Money in it. Another one has Carrie Awful and Mickey Knuckles in it. So
I miss T-Money.
Let's double check that if that is the actual T-Money. Yep, make sure it's not somebody else. But yeah, that's same T-Money.
There's more than one T-Money. That crazy.
So yeah, hell, even after his 2013 matches, he doesn't appear again on anything until 2016. But also, he could work for companies that aren't on the Cage Match radar, so that that's true. Could make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, like I said before, I love this match, and I want to revisit it.
Me too, bud. V good. 10 out of 10. And I'm going to use fire emojis for this one, but fire sauce emojis.
Actually, picking up, I forgot that before the show, I did get a picture with Alex Zane, because one thing that I thought was really cool, earlier in the week, he did post a picture of like a lot of his shirts, and like he brought a suitcase just filled, and I
saw the picture of them.
And I had to ask, I'm like, well, do you have 3X? And he's like, I do. So I was like, okay, cool. So I got me a Body by Taco Bell shirt.
Hate you. I'm sad. I'm so poor right now. I couldn't afford to buy anything frivolous at this show, because I definitely wanted an Alex Zane shirt, because I love Taco Bell. You didn't just hear me say that, but I love Taco Bell. And I've personally ordered shirts from the Taco Bell website. I have a Taco Bell shirt sitting upstairs right now. And I was like, oh, I want an Alex Zane shirt to go with it. And I checked my bank account, and I was like, ooh, no, I do not.
The Taco Bell move to do, which I know you do, but I do it on two different things. Add potatoes to a crunch wrap and add potatoes to a quesadilla.
I've never done either one of those. That sounds interesting.
Oh, it is amazing.
Yeah, my go-to currently is that My Cravings box that you order in the app, and I do the black bean crunch wrap.
I think the first time
that's my shit.
The first time I did potatoes, I might have did a black bean crunch wrap because I was just like, fuck it. Like, I think that would be like a really good taste. And like Taco Bell
would slap so hard.
Taco Bell's potatoes are so good because like a lot of people kind of like shit on the fries, but it's like, do you realize the fries are like the same thing as the cheesy Fiesta potatoes? And those are really good.
See, but I'm a lover of the potato, but not a lover of the fry. I did not like the fry. Maybe because they were soggy. And like, yes, I get that the potatoes also can be soggy because they're covered in fucking cheese and sour cream. But I don't know. Maybe it's weirder because of the fry and you expect it to be crunchy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Taco Bell's delicious. Alex Zane's a good wrestler. Buy his merch. Buy all their merches. Spend all your money on all these wrestlers because they are fantastic.
Well, there was Chase Oliver getting the pin over Alex Zane. So that's two really big wins back to back for Chase Oliver. Mm-hmm. He's building up his resume since coming back.
As Butters would say, he's on a tear.
All right, let's move.
Shout out, Butters.
Let's move on to the next match.
Dun, 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 dun.
Derrick Dillinger versus Matthew Justice.
Cool boy.
For my first time ever, I got to participate in the Catch Matt Justice group.
And I for one, would like to say shout out to you and Butters for catching Matt this time, because 2 weeks ago at the last show, I participated in said catch, and Matt kneed me in my eye, and I was not too happy about it. So I did not want to do it this time. I moved out of the way.
Yeah, I quite literally had Stacy's back for this one because I was like right behind him.
I'm so glad. So glad, thank you. I worry about him not catching him right and then them both falling and just it all being bad.
Yeah, we were all there, and I even think Pat jumped in there too.
Yeah. It's a good thing. It's always a fun time, but the last time the way Matt landed just completely destroyed my eyeball. Thank God I didn't have a black eye like Derrick ends up with.
But we also had Ziggy come out with a little
chihuahua feisty ass.
Come out with a little tribute to Daphne on her shirt.
I thought, like, I couldn't see what it said at first because I didn't have my glasses. Or did I? I'm just blind, regardless. I couldn't see what it said. And then she got closer and I saw it said Scream. I was like, aw. She had her Daft shirt on and her Hannah pants on.
So we did get a nice back and forth throughout the match between Bill Alfonso and Ziggy.
We did.
I think to say about Ziggy, like you mentioned, and we've talked about before, like she's a chihuahua. She is a fearless chihuahua.
Incredibly fearless. She fucking... Matt was bleeding, and she took Matt's blood and wiped it on her face.
I don't think that was
Derrick's blood.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think
from where I was sitting.
I think it was Derrick's blood because at first I thought it was Matt's blood, but the way it looked like it was just smeared on him. And,
okay.
And I think because like at this point, Derrick obviously was bleeding.
Of course,
he was the first. He was the first to bleed, and I think Derrick's face was right around Matt's chest prior to that. So Ziggy seen it, and she just wipes it off and then wipes it on herself.
Dude, like fucking war paint. I saw that shit. I was like, this bitch, she is insane. I love her. Like, Ziggy is absolutely a gem with Derrick. Like, her craziness and him being a fucking psychopath now, like, I just love every moment of the production.
What I need is a Big Zig Diesel parody shirt. And I would buy that shit.
Hey man, tweet at her.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
You never know, because I would probably buy one of those, because I bought one of her yellow t-shirts that she had out. Mm-hmm. And that bitch is so comfortable. I would buy all of the shirts if they felt like that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to tweet that out.
Yeah, like finally get Mike to design it or something. Boy design. Hook her up. But yeah, those two, with just her ferocity, is that a word? It feels right. Ferociousness. That's what I wanted to say. With her ferociousness, she's also another one like Jocelyn, where she don't give a fuck who you are. Ziggy has wrestled Josh Bishop before. She don't give a fuck who you are. She's gonna get in that ring and try to destroy your ass. Inside the ring, outside the ring, Bill Alfonso, Matthew Justice, does not matter. She's gonna try to do something. And that's what I love about her. Like, I love that she just has that no fucks attitude and goes in and does the shit. She will let Derrick throw her at people, over the rope at people. It don't matter. Like, she's just here for it. And she makes wrestling fun. And I love that. But her and Bill, their little back and forth. I was waiting for it the whole match because I had moved at this point. When it gets to be a Matt Justice match and or a Josh Bishop match, I go from being in the front row to the wall. Because I don't like running. I don't like having to avoid things to get out of the way. I'm just gonna stay back and stay safe. So I was watching all this happen from a little further than where you were at this point. But I was just waiting back there with Brock, like, are they gonna fight? Are they gonna fight? What's going on? But that match was crazy. Derrick bled so much blood.
I mean, that's kind of what Derrick does. And this was a match that literally went almost everywhere. Mm-hmm.
It sure did. Because I was almost unsafe at one point. But yeah, what's up?
I was going to say, I can't remember if it was this match or Rhino and Kaplan. No, I think it was this one where, like, when they go through the crowd, like, it literally, like, just messed up where everybody's chairs were. And it was kind of like... Yes.
The Rhino one was more controlled, surprisingly. But this one absolutely destroyed where you guys were all sitting. Like, you couldn't tell... We had already had fucked up seating arrangements as it is. But it went from being, oh, hey, look, we kind of made our own first row to, oh, hey, there is no row. You don't know where you're sitting. You don't know where your chair is. It was crazy. But it sounds like an AIW show because, that's just how we do things. Crazy walk through into our chairs.
And then you just get all these matches with Derrick where he's bleeding. And I think that's kind of a thing that's we're going to look at when we talk about Wrestler of the Year for him.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. Derrick went from being I don't even want to say mild-mannered, but like, he's completely changed in how he's been wrestling too. He went from being a normal-ish wrestler to wanting to be a hardcore guy with like bleeding in every match and being crazy, and just the attitude that he has and what he's done with the production and what him and Ziggy are doing now and going forward. It's gold, and they both need to keep doing more of it. Like, I love these guys, and I cannot wait to see singles or together what's in store for them both, because I know big things are on the horizon for Derrick for sure. That motherfucker is going somewhere.
And it was Derrick getting the win via pinfall.
Hell yeah, it was. I love Matt, but sometimes you gotta lose, bud. Sometimes Derrick comes out on top.
Let's move on to the main event. Wes Barkley and Joshua Bishop, the Rip City Shooters, versus the Philly Marino Experience, Philly Collins and Marino Tenaglia, for the AIW Tag Team Championships. This match was Wes cashing in his Biggins Cup.
Oh, this match. I love PME. This match. It was very sad. But it was a good match. Very, very intense. Josh Bishop. I'm still devastated. Like I can barely even talk about what happened because of how I fucking hate it. Like, I'm gonna be the asshole that fucking goes off and says it. I fucking hate how this ended. I hated the ending of this match. Everything before it was great. It was great storytelling between the two. Everything was fantastic. I hated the way it ended. It's like, I also hated the way the Biggins Cup ended too, because I didn't want Wes to win. I wanted Derrick to win. So I hated the ending of that, and I hated the ending of this, because I don't know how you're gonna do it. I'm not a wrestling genius, but I would not have all three of my fucking belts on the same person / persons, with Wes also being a part of the tag team. But like, I don't know. I don't like all the gold being on one team / person. And Mike, fuck you with your fucking confetti cannons, with your gold fucking confetti. I don't know. I'm so shitty about the entire situation. I'm a petty ass wrestling fan, and I'm shitty about it. Love the show, love the match in general. I just hated the ending. What were your thoughts, Summers?
Definitely a good match. I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to end. I like that there was a lot of things that happened that made me think that PME was going to win, and then there was things that made me think that Rip City was going to win. But when we get to the end, it is Rip City winning. I agree with you to the fact of it's not what I wanted to happen now that we do have, all but one championship on Bishop. And, they did say that, Shayna was next, and Shayna said book it. But
I'm waiting, John. I'm waiting for that one. That's a match I didn't know I needed to see until I saw it on the tweets. Because, oh my God, could you imagine? Tap, nap, or snap Josh Bishop? Whoo!
That's how we get all the titles off of Bishop. Shayna.
Yeah. Shayna, come home, honey. We need you.
But, kind of like what you said of, it's not what I wanted to see, but I'm willing to see where it goes from here. Like, if we're just talking simple, basic logic when it comes to wrestling in general, pretty much everybody loses a title at some point. There is the loophole of, forfeit and all that kind of stuff, but eventually Bishop isn't going to be the absolute champion. Eventually he's not going to be the intense champion, and eventually Rip City Shooters aren't going to be the tag team champions. Like, is it going to happen at the next show, a show sometime this year, a show next year, whenever it is? I'm curious to just see where we go from here, because now literally any storyline, any idea of who's the champion or wants to be champion has to go through Bishop. Someone wants the absolute title, they gotta go through Bishop. If someone wants the intense title, they gotta go through Bishop. And someone wants to be the tag team champions, which we have a lot of tag teams in AIW, they're going to have to go through Rip City. So I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but one of the things that I feel that it's the only way we can go now is Josh is going to have more than one match on a card. Now, he might not put both the absolute and intense titles up, even though I do think that's something that should happen. But, let's say, To Infinity and Beyond wants a match and they get one at the Akron show. Well, what if somebody wants a title shot for the absolute title? Well, you gotta have to wrestle two matches. That's to me seems to be the only way we can go without doing, Matt Wadsworth says that Josh has to forfeit some titles or whatever it may be, because I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
Ideally, I like to see, Josh get 3 matches in a night, put up the tag title in one match with Wes, put up the intense title in one match, and then put up the absolute title in the third match.
It would be a very long and exhausting night for Bishop, but that would be fucking sweet.
People say he's a whole ass man.
That's a grown ass man right there.
My favorite
Kenny Wang.
My favorite quote from Kenny Wang is that Josh Bishop is a beast.
Beast. Man, I miss Kenny. That just him screaming anything from the back of any room that we've ever been in. This is always was one of my favorite things ever. Like, I try to recreate it, but I don't have that deep ass man voice like he does. Nobody hears me.
We always used to, or some of us used to, like, kind of joke about him when he calls Bishop a beast, and we'd always say the beast in, like, a real high tone voice. Like, it's too late in the morning for me to repeat it, or at least to yell how we would say it, but I don't know. That's something I always think of when it comes to Kenny Wang.
Right.
I mean, I got nothing else on this match because, like, when it comes down to it, it comes down to the end of it. You know, PME is going to eventually come back after their titles. Bitcoin Boys, well, with Mikey on the shelf, that's going to prevent them from stepping up right now. But there's people going to want tag title shots, and there's definitely
for sure. Because I could see even like 40 Acres going after that shit here in the future. You know,
40 Acres. You got the production. You got Derrick probably still wanting a title shot for the Intense title.
Right.
Almost anybody wanting a shot at the Absolute title. Maybe Matt Cardona.
Oh, Christ. No, he's not allowed to invade the AIW world like he did GCW. Like, you get your one-offs. Go away. And then there's you. It's like, yeah, no, make him champ.
I don't know if I want to go the route of make him champ because I am the oddball in the Major Wrestling Figure podcast group that when he was going up against Nick Gage, and I was a full force Nick Gage. Like,
nice.
Like, Nick Gage is my dude. Nick Gage is a very nice man, and I have a lot of love and respect for him because I know he has a lot of love and respect for me, and I'm not going against him for anything. I bought an MDK shirt. I bought the print of Nick Gage taking a light tube to a animated PBR can. So yeah, as much as I want to see Matt Cardona come in, I don't necessarily want him to
win,
at least be champion.
Title.
Yeah, because I've said it before, there was something like when Josh and Matt did the face-to-face thing where it was like, it made me really appreciate the size that Josh is.
Mm-hmm.
Because here he is face-to-face with someone who just came from WWE who has a certain size to him. It's like, holy shit, you know, Josh is a star. And it's going to take time for other people to see it. But having that little literal measuring stick against Cardona made me go, I want to see this match one-on-one, and Bishop's going to be a star.
Right. Josh is a star. I just can't wait for him to be a bigger one.
Yeah.
Because that's a grown-ass man right there. And I will talk shit about Rip City and everything in between, but I have nothing but respect for what he's done and what they've done as a tag team over the last 2 years now. Like, it's been good. I'm not going to shit all over. I just didn't like the ending of the match. That's all.
I mean, for the record, like, I like Josh. I like Wes. I've said it before, and it's something I genuinely mean. There is nobody right now on the AIW roster that I don't like. Like, if I boo somebody, it is nothing personal. If I don't like how a match went, it's nothing personal. It's just how I would have wanted to see the show go. And I love everybody. I even, told Josh and Wes that day that I still want a Rip City Shooter shirt, partially because I did name one of my fantasy football teams Rip City Shooters of my one friends league, and I won the championship. So I want the logo that I used for them as a shirt, which was their Halloween Rip City Shooter shirt, which on their old Big Cartel store was called the Rip City Slashers. So I really want that shirt, and unfortunately they're not selling them right now, but they might do some here soon. So still got a lot of love and appreciation for the Rip City Shooters. Just going this route isn't what I wanted to see, but I will stress I'm willing to see where this goes. I'm not going to be critical of anything else. I'm not someone who's going to just tweet AIW like crazy, because it seemed like there were a lot of people that tweeted and commented just their reaction to everything. But I'm curious. And I don't think AIW is going to disappoint me. Just because I didn't like this doesn't mean I'm not going to like what's coming next.
Right. And you've been going a lot longer than I have, but I've been going for what, 5 years? 4 years? 5 years? Something like that at this point. And I can barely recall ever really being disappointed with the storyline. Like, it's just not a thing that happens at AIW. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure John will, if he doesn't already know where he's going with it, figure it out. And it'll end up being fucking fantastic, whatever it is, because it's just how they do things. Tell stories, making movies, you know, whatever John's tagline is. But we'll end up enjoying whatever product or whatever storyline that they go with, I'm sure. Like, it hasn't ever really been disappointing in my time. Oh my God, you can hear me scratching my arm.
All right. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go?
A week before the show, before a lot of the matches were announced, like, I didn't know how this was going to go. There have been a lot of shows back to back over the last couple weeks, and I remember going into this on Friday being excited as fuck because it ended up being an amazing card. And even with the card changing slightly, even in my favor, it was fantastic. This whole show, top to bottom, was really good. I'm big sad that it did not get the stream like it was supposed to, because they've had terrible luck with their streaming numbers, and I was hoping more eyes, because of who was on the show and what was being offered, more eyes would get to see it, and unfortunately they did not. So whenever this show does come out, please go to IWTV and look it up. It is an amazing show. You will not be disappointed, I don't believe. Just go to IWTV regardless. Give them money, give AIW money, do the right thing here. But yeah, great show. I'm starting to not think straight. It's like 2:30. Good show top to bottom. Not disappointing at all. Can't wait for the next one. It's at the Winchester on the 23rd. It's also Josh Bishop's birthday celebration, if I am not mistaken. So come get ready to give the birthday boy a beer and high five him for his championship win, I guess, the tag teams and whatnot. But other than that, you can find me on the interwebs. I'm mainly on Twitter. It's Pamela Nicole, PAMELAA_NICOLEE. You can follow me there. You can follow me on Instagram with the same name. Don't follow me on Facebook because I'm not going to accept your friend request. Nothing personal. I'm just weird like that. But yeah, you guys know where to find me. I post funny things on Twitter, so give me a follow. And yeah, I'm sorry I ramble a lot, guys. I'm sorry that I was also working, and I'm sorry if I make any horrible noises during this podcast that Justin cannot edit out. So glad to be back on the show, though. Thanks for having me, Justin.
It's always fun having you on.
Are you sure about that? Because I talk an awful fucking lot. I don't know.
Did you say pan?
I'm never gonna not have that joke in my life, and I love it. PANM. Oh.
Like
anyway.
With 2 M's. Okay.
Oh, shit.
And, of course, you can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, much like you can find this show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I mentioned earlier in this show, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, and Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. And all of those links you can find right in the podcast notes in our Linktree link. Also, check out our friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, the Spanish Announce Table, and Wrestling with Altitude. Check out our other podcasting friends, such as Pod Van Dam, Let the Hate Flow Through You, Super Fantastic Podcast, It's Evolution Baby, The Indie Cast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, Gay Marks Podcast, We Like Sports Podcast, Powerbomb Jitsu, The Spotlight Series, Fully Posable, Doing the Favor, Positively Pro Wrestling, IWTV Guide, At Odds with Wrestling, Best in the World Podcast, Marks with Mikes, Marnie and Sarah Love Wrestling, This Ends at Prom, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as Thrift Store Jobber, The Savage Dash, The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Co-Host Wrestling Show, Good Company, Heart of Gold, Toy Hi-Yo Toy Show, Time Capsule Toys, Stay Tough, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, Wrestle Void, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're a grown-ass man. Later.
Later, dweebs.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast. Talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers. And then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Shit, I just locked myself out. Fuck! Welcome to Pam working and trying to do a podcast, guys. I forgot I muted my microphone. LOL. Boo! But they put in the work against To Infinity and Beyond, and they both tried to... I'm losing my words here, Justin. My goodness. I'm only one fish tank in. Like, I don't understand it. I'm definitely gonna edit this brain fart out because it is a big one.